I'm Dracula. Actually, today's movie is Blacula. And thanks for joining us yet again for B-Movie Euphoria's 31 Days of Horror, Day 27. Today's movie is 1972 classic Blacula. I had never seen it before today. I saw it at the FYE and I was like, yeah, those two. This also comes with Scream Blacula, Scream with Pam Grier, which I'm very, very excited about because the first one was so incredible, let me tell you. Number one, it has Shakespearean classically trained actor William Marshall, who went on, I realized at the very end of the movie, who went on to become the king of cartoons on Pee-wee's Playhouse, the incredible Pee-wee's Playhouse. So I basically grew up with this guy, with William Marshall, and I didn't even know it. Hey, buddy, come here. So, Blacula is all about this African prince who comes to Transylvania because... Where are you going? Hey! He comes to Transylvania because he's going to talk to Count Dracula about ending the slave trade in Transylvania. He wants Dracula's support. He comes there with his wife, and they're having a nice dinner and everything, and then Dracula starts saying all this super racist shit like, well, I like to have a few slaves around or something. And, of course, Prince Mawalde is like, I'm out of here, go fuck yourself, which he rightly should. And he gets up to leave, and then Dracula is like, and it calls his little minions in, and they grab the prince and his wife, and Dracula bites him on the neck, and basically lays a curse on him that he's going to be a Dracula, henceforth to be named Blacula. Which, this is really the only point in the movie where they call him Blacula. It's only Dracula that calls him Blacula. I'm pretty sure Prince Mawalde just wants to be called Prince Mawalde because that's what he tells everybody his name is. So that's the only point, at least in this movie. Maybe they call him Blacula a lot in Scream. Blacula Scream. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. Anyway, so he seals now Blacula up into a tomb and into a coffin, and then seals this basically basement tomb with his wife there. So his wife is basically forced to starve to death or something. And then they leave. They just leave him there. And so in this coffin, he is trapped for 200 years until this couple comes to buy some antiques at the Transylvanian castle where Dracula used to live. And they're talking about Dracula and talking about, you know, buying his stuff, but at the same time, they're just like, we don't believe in vampires. And this is kind of, a lot of people have problems with the portrayal of this couple because they're a gay couple, and a lot of people say that it's kind of, they're doing kind of a stereotype of a gay couple, but honestly, I didn't see that at all. Like, they were a little flamboyant, but they both were unique, separate characters, and they joked with each other, and you got to know them enough so you actually cared about them as people. So when they decided to buy this coffin that they found, for, I don't know what they're going to use it for, whatever, and then they decide to have it shipped back to LA, when he busts out of there and attacks them and kills them, you're like, shit, I like these people, these are great. And so yeah, I guess they're a little bit stereotypically flamboyant, but in general, I liked both of them, so I was sad when they got killed. So now Blacula's in LA, he is on the prowl. He actually goes to the funeral of one of the interior designers that he killed, and a woman shows up there uh, who is the spinning image of his dead wife from years and years ago. And of course, he gets obsessed with her and he has to follow her. And he creepily does. And so much so that she like freaks out and drops her purse and then runs off. And he picks it up. And so while he's obsessing over her, he's also like killing people randomly that, you know, either bother him or could possibly expose him. Like a woman takes his photograph and somehow or another he knows that he's not going to show up in the photograph even though he's been buried for 200 years. Whatever, he goes to her dark room and kills her there. And so he's killing people, and every time he gets real, like, super Dracula evil, Blacula evil, sorry, his facial hair grows. So his mustache will, like, grow up his face, and his eyebrows are, and his face gets kind of greenish, but it's kind of like a cheap effect, but at the same time it's really effective because William Marshall is doing it and just making it super freaky and super effective, and he rushes at people, and once he gets the cape and everything, it's just very effective. He turns into a bat a couple times too, and they could have done this very cheaply, but they did it with animation, and so it looks pretty good. Because usually when you see that, you see a vampire turn into the bat, it never looks good because it's like a little one of those bats, and it just looks terrible. But in this, it looks great. It looks, I mean, clearly it's animation, but it looks better anyway. So he's after her. He ends up seducing this woman that he believes to be like the reincarnation of his wife, but she happens to be very good friends with Dr. Thomas, who works in the scientific investigation division of the police department, and he just basically has a lot of sway because he hangs out. He doesn't really have an office. He just hangs out in his boss's office, and he tells his boss what he's going to be doing. He's like, yeah, there's some like weird deaths going on, so I'm thinking it's a vampire. And the guy's like, what? And he proves it to him like right away, so there's no like back and forth like, you're insane. But because this guy, like Blacula, is like super brutal and just killing all these people. Finally, there's a showdown between Dr. Thomas, who is our Van Helsing of the movie, basically. But he's very suave, too. He's kind of a dick to everybody, Dr. Thomas is. He's a real big dick to the coroner, who ends up getting killed later on. And he's a dick to his boss, but you still kind of like him. He's a likable dick. So they have a huge showdown in a warehouse where Blacula was originally sent from Transylvania. That's where his kind of coven or hive or whatever of all the people he's bit are kind of hanging out. So when Dr. Thomas and his kind of backup, his boss or whatever, you don't really know who this guy is, is he working with him? Is this guy's higher up? Whatever. They bust into the warehouse, and suddenly there's like 15 undead roaming at them and like, ugh. And so they just like open a box and it's filled with kerosene lamps, and they just start tossing these kerosene lamps, and they're just exploding because, you know, I didn't know this. Apparently, if you have a kerosene lamp, do not bump it, do not let it fall on the ground because it will fucking explode and you will turn into a ball of fire. Just so you know, because according to this movie, if a kerosene lamp goes anywhere but in a box or like on your end table, it's going to fucking explode and kill you and your entire family. So be careful out there. So yeah, there's that. There's a lot of like very sexy stuff going on. So it's just so good. William Marshall is amazing. The film itself is just so great. I'm just so happy with it. go and watch Blacula if you can. If you can find it on Amazon, find that, watch it today. It's a landmark film. It's scary, it's spooky, and it's just got incredible acting in it. And it's definitely a B movie. It's definitely like cult trash, but it's so much fun, and it obviously doesn't get old. It's so great, and I can't wait to watch this one too. Pam Grier. Anyway, thanks for watching B Movie Euphoria. 31 Days of Horror, day 27. It's technically the 28th now because I'm doing this so late, but, you know, bear with me. I'm off to the Mystery Science Theater 3000 Live. I'll be back in a couple days. See you guys. Love you. Have a great